welcome to yet another episode of A Story for Your Query. On November 26, 2008, terrorists simultaneously attacked about a dozen locations in Mumbai, India, including one of the most iconic buildings in the city, the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. For 2 nights and 3 days, the Taj was under siege, held by men with automatic weapons who took some people hostage, killed others, set fire to the famous dome of the hotel. Apparently, something extraordinary had happened during the siege. According to hotel managers, none of the Taj employees had fled the scene to protect themselves during the attack. They all stayed at the hotel to help the guests. There was a story of the kitchen employees who formed a human shield to assist guests who were evacuating and lost their lives as a result. Of telephone operators who, after being evacuated, chose to return so that they could call the guests and tell them what to do. This unusual behavior prompted Harvard to do a case study. It was found that the behavior was inexplicable. The employees knew all the back exits of the hotel and they could have easily fled the place. Yet, they stayed back to help the guests. Taj managers explained to the researchers from Harvard that they recruited people with traits like respect and empathy because that kind of underlying value is hard to teach. They did not recruit people with highest grades. They visited second level B schools for recruitment. They recruited for character and not for grades. The Taj Mahal Hotel has made its name on customer service, and they are near fanatical about it, treating it almost like a science. So everything about training is designed to encourage kindness. If guests say something or write something very complimentary about an employee, within 48 hours of the recording of the compliment, there is some reward that is given. It could range from gifts to job promotions. The same kind of conditioning used by Skinner to train his pigeons. Kindness encompasses love and compassion. Love and compassion are two positive feelings that help to make the world a better place. This brings us to the concept of empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is the understanding of how others feel and being compassionate towards them. It happens when two parts of the brain together, neuroscientists say, the emotional center perceives the feeling of others and the cognitive center tries to understand why they feel that way and how we can be of help to them. The three types of empathy that psychologists have defined are cognitive, emotional, and compassionate. Now, for a minute, let's stop and look at the difference between apathy, empathy, and sympathy. Are they same? Are they different? To what extent are they different? Let me use a story to drive home a point. This is an old story, usually attributed to David Ogilvy, about a copywriter. This copywriter used to walk daily and he would walk past a blind beggar on a street corner. The beggar had a sign that says, "I am blind, please help." Every day, the beggar is largely ignored by the passers-by. One sunny morning, the copywriter stops, takes out a marker pen, scribbles 3 words on the sign, and then moves on. From that day, the blind man's cup is stuffed with notes and overflowing with change. The copywriter had adapted the sign to read, "It's spring, and I'm blind. Please help." So apathy here refers to the people who walk past without a care. Sympathy refers to the people who gave alms. And empathy, the copywriter changed the sign to evoke a response from the passers-by. Research has shown that empathy makes people into better human beings. Connection and compassion are crucial to a sustainable and humane future. The key difference between love and compassion is that love is a deep feeling of affection and attachment towards someone, whereas compassion is a concern for the sufferings and misfortunes of others. What Mother Teresa felt for the downtrodden was deep compassion. Love and compassion are two positive feelings that help to make the world a better place. How to improve your sensitivity to these positive feelings? Put yourself in other people's shoes. In addition to what people say, pay attention to others' facial expressions, gestures, and body language. Sensitive leaders use these insights to adjust their behavior to the emotions, needs, and preferences of their followers. Remember that your followers are only human. Nobody is perfect when the followers trust you. They are more likely to acknowledge errors rather than cover up their mistakes. Setting a compassionate tone involves being forgiving of mistakes while still holding your followers accountable for their actions. Be generous with your praise. When giving a praise, be sincere and specific. Otherwise, it may come across as being empty flattery. For example, a simple thank you or a handwritten note can express gratitude. Research shows that employees value personalized recognition. Additionally, when employees look up to their leaders, they feel stronger loyalty to the organization and are more likely to go the extra mile to work. Build rapport with your followers. Being sensitive involves caring about employees outside of work and getting to know them as people and remember what they share with you. Practice active listening. A key part of sensitivity is the ability to effectively listen. Active listening involves paying attention to what the other people tell you with the intention of understanding them, helping them, or learning something new. Deliver difficult messages with a gentle touch. Be mindful of how others may interpret your words, tone of voice, and body language. When your emotions are becoming difficult to control, take a break. This will give you time to regain your composure and calm down. A few additional things to do. Put away your phone and other gadgets when you're having conversations, even with the people you see every day, so you can fully listen and notice their facial expressions and gestures. Work for a shared cause. If you have experienced grief and loss, join the others who have experienced something similar. A few practices that have worked for us at our school. We believe in catching them young, and we do have certain exercises to hone their sensitivity. We celebrate a special Friends Day every year at the primary level. We believe some of these values are only caught. The primary children pull in rupees 10 to 15 each, prepare a hamper for a special friend who will be invited from an underprivileged section to their school on that particular day. They prepare games and cultural program for them, whereafter they partake a sumptuous lunch and depart. We had invited tribal school children to our annual sports day. They ran barefoot, and our children came up to me to ask whether they can sponsor shoes for them. This is a proof that seeds of sensitivity are sown effectively. Love, empathy, and compassion can be practiced only when individual has some sensitivity. A story from the Ramayana to explain this further. Lord Rama and his army of monkeys were preparing for war with Ravana. A bridge had to be built over the sea. Monkeys pulled out the rocks and heavy stones from the mountains, carried them to the sea, and began to build the bridge. One little squirrel was going up and down the seashore with little pebbles in his mouth. He carried the pebbles from the seashore, dropped them into the sea, rolled over, sprinkled the sand, and continued to do this. A monkey carrying a huge, heavy, large stone on his back saw this and couldn't stop laughing. The little squirrel looked up and told the monkey, "I'm helping Lord Rama build the bridge." "You what?" shouted the monkey, and he laughed aloud. "Did you hear that?" He told the other monkeys. "This squirrel is building a bridge with his pebbles." "Oh dear, dear, I've never heard a funnier story." The other monkeys laughed too. Lord Rama saw this. He picked up the squirrel and held it close to him. He said to the monkeys, Do not make fun of the weak and the small. The tiny pebbles and the stones brought by this little squirrel are filling the small gaps left between the huge stones carried by you. And then he ran his fingers over the back of the squirrel, and I believe those are the stripes that you see on the back of the squirrel to date. This Indian palm squirrel is found naturally in India and Sri Lanka. Sensitivity makes an individual give credit even to the smallest contribution to the organization. In Kannada, there is a saying which says, Alilu Seve, which refers to the acknowledgement of the smallest of the small contributions. Herein, Alilu refers to the squirrel and Seve to the service. I would like to end the podcast with a story contributed by a listener. I shall narrate it in first person. In 2014, I visited Alibag with my friends. Alibag is a coastal town located 96 kilometers from Mumbai. It is known for its verdant beaches and beautiful coconut groves. We bought some locally grown delicious jamuns and some tender coconuts on the way back to Mumbai. As we savored the taste of the delicious jamuns, we decided to discard the seeds into an empty plant container, hoping that it might come to life. 2 weeks later, lo and behold, we saw a cute little sapling developing from the seed. At around the same time, a green shoot sprouting from the coconut. As plants require water, soil, and plenty of sunshine, and in the absence of an extra plant container, I decided to plant the coconut in the same pot as the jamun. Eventually, as they grew, I would replant them, I thought, in separate pots. Much to my surprise, they thrived in that small compact space, even though they were two different species. We as a family showered them with a generous dose of water and love. They grew and grew, and the pot became smaller and smaller. It was now time to transplant them with a lot more space for them to spread their roots and grow. The coconut and jamun were the humble contribution to our society garden. Both these plants were transplanted side by side on Independence Day in 2016. To this day, both these friends, coconut and jamun tree, continue to grow. The jamun tree has become taller than the coconut, and I'm hoping that one day it will shower its patron with some delicious fruits. Watching them grow fills our family with a sense of pride. Why am I telling you this story? It's because nature is in itself a metaphor for peaceful coexistence. The coconut and jamun plants, in spite of their differences, continue to grow harmoniously together, flourishing in fact. The story of survival and growth is an inspiration for all of us. All we need is a big heart and acceptance of our differences, because in some way we are bound together. So what we need in this world is a peaceful and a natural coexistence. With this, we come to the end of the podcast. Any questions you have could be addressed to your query, mystory@gmail.com. I shall try to answer it as quickly as I can. Anchor and Spotify permit voice messages. Perhaps you could check that option. That's all for today. I'll see you next week.